Hi everyone, this is Matt. Welcome back to Touchgrass Gardening. Today, spring is here and I'm going to be talking about what's blooming in my yard. So we have three main categories: citrus, avocado, and stone fruit. So citrus, and what's behind me right now is a cocktail tree, which is half lemon and half key lime. And this half here with the key lime is just exploding in blooms. And as my head is half in here, I just hear nonstop buzzing from all the bees that are inside. And so you can see all these white blooms, and the smell is just so fragrant and wonderful. And that's part of why I like citrus, is not just because of the fruit, but also the smell and the blooms in spring. And this is just a wonderful example of that. So if you've been following my videos, you fertilized about 2 weeks ago around Valentine's Day, and now you're going to see the results of that with all these blooms. And I have 13 varieties of citrus in my yard, and all of them are starting to look like this. This one has really opened up first. Some of the other ones in the yard, like the Buddha's Hand, the Oro Blanco, and the Pomelos, they're a little bit later. But we'll show those as well and show you that they're not quite open. But as you can see, this is what's coming on all those citrus. So this is a Buddha hand, and you can see there's still a fruit on there that was maturing and wasn't quite ready yet, so I didn't take it off. I'm about to take this off. But at the same time, you can see it's just full of blooms. And I assume that there's gonna be more than one fruit, which is what we had last season, next season, because of all these blooms. And the most interesting thing about Buddha's Hand is not just, the amazing, cool looking fruit, but it has the largest blooms of any citrus that I've seen, whether that's my pomelo or orange or anything. This has bigger blooms, and so it's really impressive when you see all these things starting to bloom at once. And we're gonna see that in the coming week. I already have a few that are starting, but I really am excited about this Buddha's Hand because it's such a unique tree in terms of the fruit and the flowers. And this is a new tree in my yard, so it's one that I wanted to highlight for you as something that you should add to your yard, not just for eating it, but because it's so unique. And that's really the type of tree that I love to put in my yard. Next, I want to talk about avocado. And if you're in Arizona, like I am, you don't often get to see avocados flowering or fruiting. But with this particular variety, this Aravaipa avocado, it is a bit more common. And as you can see, we've got some blooms coming in actually all over the tree. And this is the first year that this tree has bloomed. It's finally getting to a size where it can probably hold fruit. So I'm really excited about seeing what happens with this tree. I think it's possible that it could get some fruit to hold on this year. But avocados are also the type of tree that prefer a pollinator. So there's type A and a type B of avocados. And I have 6 varieties of avocados in my yard, but I only have 2 that are flowering, and they're both type B. So I'll show you another one right over here in a second. But right now, this is the tree that has the most flowers and blooms. And we'll see if we get fruit this year. So stick around for my upcoming videos to see if we can grow some avocados in Arizona. But I wanted to show you one more tree, which is my Zutano avocado. So if you come right over here, I'll show it to you. Now this seedling avocado is not blooming this year. Again, it takes probably 6 or 7 years before it blooms because it's from seed, it's not grafted. But this is a grafted avocado tree, this is Zutano. It's only about 6 feet tall. But it's been in the ground for 2 years now, and this is the first year that it's blooming. And I think the tree is probably too small to actually hold onto fruit, and I'm not sure that I'll even keep the flowers, but it'll be fun to see. And the other thing that I was thinking about is, will it help the other tree potentially pollinate but probably not because they're both the same type. They're type B. And so once I get these other type A avocados like a Haas or a Mexicola to flower, then there'll be more fruit all throughout the yard. But I wanted to show you that 2 of the 6 of the avocados in my yard are growing blossoms and could potentially hold fruit. So we'll see what happens. More to come. Now the third category of fruits that are blooming in my yard right now are stone fruits. And so you can see this area here, it's all a similar type of flower, and that's because they're all Pluot, Pluerries, or plums. And I intentionally put these 5 trees here close together because they pollinate each other and increase fruit production. So you can see that these are all stone fruits that I just put in this last fall, and you can see already that they already have tons of blooms, and it's just a beautiful area full of white flowers. And I wanted to highlight that this stone fruit. I also have an apricot and a peach tree in the back of my yard, but these stone fruits that are Pluot, Plum, and Pluerry are just looking awesome right now. So if you have a stone fruit in your yard, you should see the blooms right now, especially if you're in an area like Arizona where I am, zone 9B. If your trees aren't flowering yet, it might be okay. Like for instance, this one, this Pluerry, it is not flowering, but it might just be establishing itself, or maybe it didn't get the sufficient amount of chill hours in the last winter. And so at least give it another year before you change anything up, because the tree is still so small, it's not going to create a ton of fruit anyway in its first year. But a healthy sign for a tree is that it will bloom and also put on leaves at the same time. So check your stone fruit and see if they look like this Pluot here. So a bonus flowering tree, or shrub in this case, is a bird of paradise. And this is a relatively common shrub that you see all over the southern part of the United States, but it's not super easy to grow and get to bloom in Arizona because it is sensitive to the sun. And the way you want to think about this particular flowering bush is you want to keep it out of the afternoon sun. So for me, I have it next to a wall that's to the west, so it really only gets sun until about noon, and then it's in the shade. And so it gets that morning sun, but then it's protected from the afternoon sun. And that's what's going to give it this ability to grow this large. Like, this is almost too big already. It probably needs to be split up and moved to different areas, but I just find it to be too much work. And so I'm letting it just keep going, and it blooms every year. It's beautiful. Bird of paradise is one of my favorite just showy types of ornamentals. And so this is one that I fertilized a couple weeks ago when I fertilized my citrus. And every year it does put on these beautiful blooms. So I love this bush. And if you don't have one yet, if you're in a temperate zone, I highly suggest it. So I hope this video is helpful, gave you some nice visuals of what's going on in my yard. You continue to follow my gardening journey. If you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out. We're starting to grow, and I really get a lot of encouragement when you subscribe to my channel. So please do that and follow me on my journey. Thank you.